Malone.
Patrick Malone.
Malone. Who was Malone?
Mahomes. And all these?
All them. Plus a little Lillard. Plus a little Djokovic.
Sir.
I told you we got to cover this.
I'm out overtime, hot take debate, penalty back so many yaps. We on the wave, unapologetic opinions, guests checking in, so I share on my social. Merch going up, my brother he going global. Ass hold it down for the ladies, they need their own show. We'll be right back with it. Time out with Coach Cam, you shouldn't miss a minute. Yup. But we right back with it. Time out with Coach Cam, we shouldn't miss a minute. Yup.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of Time Out with Coach Cam. I'm your host, Cam Chancellor, and of course, I have Ashley Cole with me. But before we start the show, we lost a great one, and Kobe Bryant, and also, his daughter Gigi, and the rest of the family that was on the plane, and the Altobelli family. So we want to start off the show with 24 seconds of silence for Kobe Bryant. Thank you. Appreciate that. And, and just to speak about Kobe, one of the game's best players, that we ever seen. And his accolades are out of this world.
Yes, just a little bit about Kobe. He spent 20 years in the NBA, 18-time All-Star, 15-time All-NBA team member, all defensive team member 12 times, 5-time NBA champion. In 2008, Kobe won the MVP.
I mean, yeah, and that's just some of the, highlights, but he has so many other accolades as well. He won an Oscar for short film.
Yes.
With Dear Basketball. Just several, towards the end of his career, did the whole ESPN detail thing, broke down people's basketball game. And what they can do to improve. So I just think, it was awesome, what Kobe was to the game of basketball and to life in general. And, and I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to sit up here and say I was the biggest Kobe Bryant fan. I wasn't at all, especially while he was playing. I'm like, man, I thought, he came across as kind of like this egotistical jerk. I'm not going to lie to you. And what made it worse is, at the time, I was a huge Jason Kidd fan. And, he came in as a Dallas Maverick, of course. But then, of course, his prime years, he played with the New Jersey Nets. And watching the Los Angeles Lakers just embarrass my New Jersey Nets at the time with a sweep. And, Shaq and Kobe was doing that thing. That just made me was like, I can't stand him. But you know what? This goes to show you to me, and it goes to show that, life is just way too short. And I hear people say that, we shouldn't wait till someone, die or, to realize that. But sometimes we lose our way. Sometimes we lose our way and we take life for granted. And we don't, we don't, cherish each day that we spend in it. Sometimes, and I hate, for a tragedy like this to happen, for us to kind of, refocus and center ourselves to say, hey, you know what? We don't have all day on this earth. We don't have, we don't have forever. And it was just sad because as we were just talking about how LeBron passed Kobe, just passed Kobe on the last show, like hours before. This crash happened. We were talking about, how he passed him up, and we was talking about how Kobe was saying that women could play in the WNBA.
Yes. And
then I'm at my son's game, and it flashed across my screen. Kobe Bryant is dead in the plane crash. I'm like, hold up, like this can't be real. This can't be real. It has to be a hoax. Stop playing. Don't do this to Kobe. But then I start looking on Twitter. I start seeing more verified accounts confirming. And that's where I go, honestly, for my news. Twitter's the first one.
I didn't believe it at first
Oh no,
because I hadn't seen it on ESPN. I hadn't seen it on any
Right.
news station. So
right? But you
first,
know, them killers, TMZ.
I thought that was wrong. I think you should respect the families first. They didn't even know themselves, and
I get it. The teams, I mean, I get it. They got a job to do too.
that was their biggest story, I believe, in 14 years. Breaking that one.
Oh, this is honestly, this is for the sports world. This is comparable to like when like a Michael Jackson dying or something of this level. It was huge, and don't get me like I knew Kobe was huge. I didn't know he was this huge, and I didn't know he would have the type of impact that he had on me. Like because I'm not gonna sit up here and say like I rooted for Kobe, night in and night out because I didn't. But however, it's just like once I heard that he passed, I'm like, it hit me a certain way, and I don't. With celebrities, I'll be like, oh, dang, he gone, like you know what I mean. But it don't hit me it didn't hit me like the way Kobe. When I heard the Kobe news, that hit me hard. That hit me hard because of everything he stood for, and it's just like with our project here, and it's like, man, Kobe, what he stood for, just going all out all the time, making sure you always perfect your craft no matter what you do, and that was that's the main take I took from Kobe is that no matter what you do, make sure you go hard at it, you prepare at it, and make sure you don't leave any page unturned. Mm-hmm. Because because he made sure that he came back every season with something new to his game or something new, that he could bring or something that were working on a weakness or anything like that. Kobe made sure that he tried to work on it, and that's why Jordan gives him the utmost respect, and you kind of see him give a little bit more respect to Kobe than maybe a LeBron, because it's a mirror image. He see Kobe, he see him as like himself. He see himself in Kobe, like the video that showed him like doing all Jordan's moves, like almost mimicking them. You could tell who he studied, and you could tell who game that he wanted to replicate, and. You know what? He didn't have no friends on that court. Kobe Bryant ain't had no friends on that court, and that's why I think a lot of people, didn't like him. But I used to always say but at All-Star games, you would see everybody will flock to Kobe. Everybody loved Kobe. Like, you know what I mean? The same people that he's, being super competitive against, going after, just absolutely just trying to tear their heads off at All-Star games, those same players loving him. You know what I mean? Loving him all around him. And that's what I take back as like, you know what? He wasn't a jerk. He never was. He just took his craft seriously. Mm-hmm. And while he was in the NBA, that was his life. Yes. That was his life. He was going to sacrifice things, and he was going to make sure that, he was prepared. And, there's a couple stories about Kobe that just, stand out to me. But hearing from other players, obviously speak. Allen Iverson. Mm-hmm. Allen Iverson said, they was in the same draft class. Mm-hmm. Both 18 years old. Obviously, Allen Iverson went to Georgetown for a year, but Kobe coming out of high school. And they hanging out, and it's done for the evening. They about to wrap it up. And Kobe asked AI, like, AI, what you about to do? AI, like, man, I'm about to hit the club. You know what I mean? I'm about to find a club. I'm about to, about to get it in. We just got drafted. He like, Kobe, what you about to do? I'm about to go work out. I'm about to hit the gym.
Yep, that's exactly what he said.
And that is a prime example of, even at a young age, Kobe knew he wanted to be the greatest. And he said, and like Shaq said, he asked Kobe, what you want to be? What you want to make, what you want to be known for in this league? And he said, I want to be known as the best player ever, and I want to be bigger than Will Smith. That's what he said. And Shaq told him, like, all right, chill out, baby. You know what I mean? Relax. I understand you got high expectations, but chill. But, man, if you look at Kobe, I think he achieved those goals. Maybe not bigger than Will Smith, but that's close. That's debatable. But
I just think that obviously he's respected by all the players.
Yes.
And I think, can we just stop comparing? Like, can we realize how great someone is in the era?
Yeah, Ash, that is an excellent point, and it kind of, you know, we have to appreciate these players while they're here.
Mm-hmm.
We really do, because you don't know when it'll be their last game or, you know, their last day here. And then, you know, we, you know, I know a lot of people like, man, I spent my whole Kobe's whole career hating on him. And, you know, and you look back and you're like, dang, like we didn't get appreciated. And, you know, and I don't know, I give LeBron a lot of slack. I gave him a lot of, I tease at him, I poke at him. But don't get it twisted. I know what LeBron James brings to the game of basketball. I appreciate what he brings to the game of basketball, and I know what his legacy is. He is one of the greatest. And you know what? I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna engage in who's better, who's that, because that's just part of debate. That's just part of sports debate. That is what it is.
Right.
But the hate, and just like, you know, just absolutely like hating a player for no reason, that has to stop. I mean, that has to stop, because, you know what, this is, you know, these special talents that you don't know, you know, how long they're going to be here. And, you know, and I still just can't believe he's gone. I still can't believe Kobe is gone. The ceremony that the Lakers put on was absolutely top notch and outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
I was all good until the Wiz Khalifa started playing. That song, it seemed like it always gets you. It always gets you, that, you know, that when I see you again.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh man, nah, not Kobe. Like, why they play this? Like, I wasn't prepared for this, but you know what? You know, Kobe left a great legacy, and you know, and also to his daughter Gigi. We didn't really speak about Gigi. Gigi had the Mamba mentality.
Yes.
At an early age, because I know a lot of people was like, Kobe, you ain't gonna go for no boy.
He didn't need to.
You know, you ain't gonna go for no boy. And then Kobe came up and basically said, Gianna stepped up like, nah, he don't need no boys. Like, I got this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I got this. And she was gonna go to UConn.
Yeah.
There wasn't no doubt about it. She was on the pace there. She was that good. And you know, I'm sorry, I had seen the picture. It was the picture of the Mamba Academy team.
Mm-hmm.
And they had lost to a team. And meanwhile, they play up. They're like 13 years old, but they play either up 1 grade or 2 grades. They had lost to a team in the championship in the tournament the year before.
Mm-hmm.
Next year, the score was like outrageous. They won like 115 to like 20 something.
Wow.
And I'm just like, that's the epitome of Kobe. It's the epitome of Kobe. Like, you know what? These girls beat us last year, but by the time we meet them next year, we are going to crush them. And that's what. And I just looked at the picture. I'm like, that's so Kobe. That's so Kobe Bryant. And you know, and like I said, we're not gonna just leave out the other families involved. You know, there was a particular family, you know, a brother and a sister that lost their whole family.
Yes.
They lost a sister. They lost a mom. They lost a dad. Like, this is just beyond. I know Kobe is the big figure in this, but this is just a really, really, really sad story. Because I can't even imagine what they're going through, losing a sibling and your parents.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't wrap my hands around it. I don't know why this happened. The one thing I want y'all to stop. Let's stop the conspiracy theories, please.
Yes.
Let's stop that. Let them rest. Let them rest, please. I don't want to hear no conspiracy theories about nothing. All right? It could be true. It could not be true. But let the families rest, please. Because now you probably got the Altobelli family thinking, was I part of some, you know, you got them thinking they're not in the right frame of mind. They don't need to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
Vanessa Bryant don't need to hear that. The rest of the kids don't need to hear that. Let it go. Let it go. Let them rest in peace. Rest in power. And, you know, and like I said, if you want to honor Kobe Bryant's legacy, I said that, you know, when he first played, you want to honor Kobe Bryant's legacy, go hard at whatever you do. Make sure you perfect your craft. And don't wait until tomorrow to try something. Do it today. Because, you know, as we see, tomorrow is not promised. All right. Coming up next, we will recap the Super Bowl, Chiefs versus 49ers, right after the timeout. Hey, we are back from the timeout, and it's a big day. It's like football holiday, Super Bowl Sunday. We have the San Francisco 49ers versus the Kansas City Chiefs. And these teams, pretty much they were the best teams all year in their conference. So we're seeing the best two teams in the Super Bowl. There are several key matchups to watch. And that's going to develop throughout the game. And I think that'll be very, very, very important, and play out who will win this game. The first matchup that's key for me is the Chiefs offensive tackle Eric Fisher against Nick Bosa. That's going to be a key matchup. Nick Bosa, defensive rookie of the year. And he's a stud. He's definitely a stud. You got to keep Mahomes up right now. The thing is about Mahomes is, and the 49ers defense is, you got to pick your point. Do you want to keep him in the pocket? Or if you flush him out of the pocket, he's almost just as dangerous. I've never seen a quarterback, or maybe Aaron Rodgers in the prime, when he rolled out of the pocket, he's just as deadly. But that's going to be key. That's going to be key, Nick Bosa versus Eric Fisher, and, that defensive line in general, because they're going to have to generate pressure without blitzing. If you blitz Patrick Mahomes, you go pay. I mean, you really, there's nothing you can really do to stop Patrick Mahomes, because the Titans, they disguised coverages. I thought they did really well in hiding what they wanted to do defensively. Then Mahomes decided he wanted to be Lamar Jackson. In the AFC title game, took off, started running, ran for a touchdown, had almost like 60, 70 yards running. I'm like, pick your poison. They didn't think that he would, take off like that, because Patrick Mahomes likes to run. He likes to extend plays to make a throw, not necessarily run per se. But he was taking off, taking his yards, and that's going to be key to see if the 49ers, Nick Bosa, can get to Patrick Mahomes and not just rushing and flush him out the ball, actually get there and bring him down to the ground. Another matchup that's key, George Kittle versus the Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu. That's going to be a key matchup because, that 49ers passing game, don't get me wrong, they have Emmanuel Sanders that helped them out, after the trade deadline. But the passing game go through George Kittle. George Kittle, one of the best. You're seeing the best two tight ends in the game, in the Super Bowl, George Kittle and Travis Kelce. I'm pro Travis Kelce, though. You know why.
You see.
You already know. He's a Bearcat. So, I'm a little pro, but George Kittle is a dog. He is a dog. 85 catches, 1,000 yards, from the tight end position. That's top of the line there. But that's going to be key. I want to see if the Honey Badger can stay with Kittle, because Kittle's a big body. Honey Badger a little small. He tough, though. He tough, and I don't doubt him. But that's going to be a hard matchup, and I just want to see how he handles that. Because he's tough. And with Kittle, they move him around. He's just not a tight end. They put him in the slot. They line him up wide. He blocks well, so they put him in the backfield as a fullback. I mean, they move Kittle around. So it's going to be interesting on that matchup there. That's going to be a key matchup to keep your eyes on. On the flip side of that, like I said, you got Travis Kelce on the other side of the ball. So it's going to be interesting to see how the 49ers cover Kelce. They have a safety of Jaquiski Tartt, who's going to have the job of, trying to shadow Travis Kelce. Once again, the safety got his hands full. Travis Kelce this year, 97 catches, 1,229 yards, 6 touchdowns. Top of the line. Like I said, we were looking at the best tight ends in the game here. And that's another huge matchup to see, because the tight ends yeah, you got to take care of them. But the Chiefs, on the other hand, they got more weapons than the 49ers do on offense.
Agree.
And that secondary in general, I'm not even going to just highlight that. The secondary in general going to have their hands full. But the secondary is tough. You know, they got Richard Sherman on the back end. And, you know, he going to be ready. He going to be ready, you know. But you know what? You know, even in that cover 3 zone that they play, Tyreek Hill can outrun it. And Patrick Mahomes can outthrow it. And I've seen people try to, you know, bracket them, you know, have, you know, coverage over the top or, you know, cover 3, and they just outthrow it. They just outthrow the zone. I mean, and it's amazing to watch that offense work. So that'll be a good matchup there. And another matchup that I'm anxious to see here. It's on the line, and it's on the flip side. You know, defensive tackle Chris Jones. Against, you know, that interior offensive line of the 49ers. The Chiefs better stop this running game if they have any chance of winning today. Because the San Francisco 49ers, they beat their teams into submission. In the playoffs, they have just literally pounded the ball. Jimmy Garoppolo probably only threw a handful of times in both games. But they have a steady running attack. You had in the divisional game, you had Tevin Coleman went off. NFC Championship game, Raheem Mostert went off. Now is it Breeda's turn? I mean, you know what I mean? It's they have a running back by committee. It's 3 of them. They all bring something good to the table, and this is gonna be a good game. This is gonna be a good game, and people underestimate the Chiefs running game too. The Damian Williams, you know, ever since they let LaShawn McCoy sit down, he old, washed up. Ever since they let him sit on down, and they let this new guy, Damian Williams, come in, the running game's been effective too. So it's definitely going to be an interesting matchup. I'm going to give it to you, Ash Nicole. Who do you have winning the Super Bowl, Chiefs or 49ers?
I'm gonna pick the Chiefs.
Chiefs?
I picked against them.
Yeah, all the time. Throughout the whole playoffs, you picked against the Chiefs.
So I think it's time to just pick them and be smart for once.
Be smart.
And I don't want the 49ers to win at all.
Why not?
I'm not a 49ers fan.
Just don't like them?
No.
Okay.
At all.
Okay. Tough matchup here. Like I say, they both, these are both best teams in the league. But I'm going with the Chiefs. I'm going with the Chiefs to win Super Bowl 54. I have Patrick Mahomes, man. Even with that pressure and that defense, you flush him out the pocket, he's just as dangerous. He's just as good. He's just as accurate. So I have the Chiefs. And also, my UC boy Travis Kelce got to bring one home.
Yes.
Bringing one home. He always repping Cincinnati wherever he go. He got Cincinnati gear on. So got to rep him. And then if he wins, both Kelce's will have Super Bowls. You will have Jason Kelce with the Eagles, who's a starting center, all-pro center.
Right.
He won one. And then you'll have Travis win a Super Bowl. So, that'd be good. It'd be good, for a UC program, too. You look up, you say, we have all-pro players that can win Super Bowl. So, it'll be a good look. And I have the Chiefs. So, we both have the Chiefs.
And, of course, Andy Reid.
Andy Reid deserves one. It's about come on, Andy. You need one. You've been through so much in your life. Just going back, just thinking you had to bury your son, all that. It's time, Andy. I want Andy to get one. Kyle Shanahan, I think he'll get back eventually. He's a great coach. Andy, you got to get one, bro. I'm rooting for you. That's a good point, Ash. I like Andy Reid. So, so we both got the Chiefs. Chiefs win the Super Bowl 54. All right. Coming up next, we will have our quick hot takes right after the timeout.
Quick hot takes.
Okay, so we are back with our quick hot takes. Okay. Better play caller, Andy Reid or Kyle Shanahan?
Ooh, this one tough. They're both great play callers. Takes what the defense give them. I gotta go with Andy Reid though. I have to go with Andy Reid as the better play caller. He's very innovative. Stuff that he does. He really presses that, pushes that button. And I like Andy Reid like I said, Kyle Shanahan is probably next in line. They right there, but I do have the old veteran Andy Reid as the better play caller.
Okay. Do you think the Lakers will win for Kobe a title?
That's a good question. It feels like they will. I'm not gonna lie to you. Even though I'm still saying, I like to hold on to my predictions now.
You still think the Clippers?
Oh yeah, still got Clippers winning it all this year. But it wouldn't be surprised. It wouldn't surprise me though if the Lakers, just have this, I call it like divine intervention. Just something extra pushing them and just helping them along the way. It wouldn't shock me. And you know what? I wouldn't be upset if they did win one for Kobe in LA as far as the Lakers. But like I said, I don't know if it still feels like to me that the Lakers missing a piece. Like if they're in the 7-game series against the Clippers or I mainly say like the Clippers or maybe even like a team like the Nuggets. It seems like they're just missing a piece. I'm not sure. We'll see though, but I won't be surprised if they did pull it off and win one for Kobe, and I wouldn't be upset at that at all.
Okay, UC and Xavier had big wins yesterday.
Yes, big wins yesterday. Joe, happy about that because the Muskies was struggling. They were struggling, and UC is starting to figure it out. They started to figure it out under John Brandon. They starting to get it, and like I said, we learned in the Chad Brindell interview that Jaron Cumberland only had 20 practices. He wasn't healthy. He wasn't in shape. We're starting to see the Jaron of old. We started to see vintage Jaron. They put him at point guard. In the last 6 games, he's been averaging 17.7 assists and, really leading the Bearcats. So I'm excited about, both teams. And we were talking about earlier, me and Joe, hey, college basketball in this city is better when both teams are playing well. When both teams are playing well and playing at a high level. So, that was a good win because, Xavier beat winning the Seton Hall, which was ranked 10th. Hard place to play. They, handled their business. And Houston, man, anytime we play Houston, it's a dogfight. Houston reminds me of Bearcat teams, like a kind of a watered down version of a Bearcat teams in the 90s. Multiple cats that can defend. They're physical. They're tough. We got cats biting people in the leg.
Yeah.
I mean, like, come on, man. Like last night, I'm like, because at first I just thought it was a jump ball, and then I went to the monitor. I'm like, what are you going to the monitor for? I'm like, the AAC refs. I'm thinking like, oh Lord, what you see done did now? We going to the monitor, and then it came out that it was a flagrant 2. I'm like, flagrant 2 how? They say he bit Keith Williams on the leg, and then it come out later he bit Keith Williams on the leg initially grabbing the ball. He rolled over and then bit Mamadou Diarra in the thigh. Like, what's wrong with you, bruh? Are you like just a savage?
He can't come back.
Man, he gotta be suspended for a game or 2, man. Nah, you out there biting people. Hey, man, Keith Williams, Mamadou, get your tetanus shot the ball.
Okay, Luka is out for the next 6 games.
Oh man, we can't let this last month. We just can't stay healthy. It's either KP out, Luka in, KP in, Luka out. Like we gotta have both of them on the same floor. And at the same time on the floor, for us to reach our full potential. It's tough. It's tough because I'm starting to worry about the ankles of Luka. They're almost like Steph Curry-esque with the weak ankles, and I'm getting concerned. This is second time rolling that ankle and missing several games. Of course, he'll be back. They say he should be back for the All-Star game to participate in festivities. So it's not a big concern, but, you just want your 2 best players on the floor at the same time. And but last night, the Dallas Mavericks had a good victory. Well, they beat the Hawks, but it was without Porzingis and Luka. So we kind of played with our role players there and got a good win. It was definitely needed. He's out 6 games. We got to try to find a way. We're 1-1 right now. We got to try to find a way to split it, go 3-3, and go from there. But we'll be a playoff team, so we'll be fine.
Okay, the Greek Freak said the Bucks are not getting enough respect. Do you agree?
I kind of agree with him a little bit. And I just think it's the whole narrative. It's the whole Eastern Conference narrative, and I think they're not getting any respect. And plus, they did the same thing last year.
Mm-hmm.
And us fans sometimes, we get bored. We get bored looking at the same things. We want to see the Bucks actually make that step into the NBA Finals. And I think this year It's not wide open by any stretch of the imagination, but the Bucks should be there. They're 41-7. They should be there. And but they should be talked about more because they are the best team in the NBA. They've beaten the Lakers. They've beaten, top teams in the league. It's not like they're beating up on bottom feeders. They're beat the Celtics, so they're beating, top competition. So and Giannis is continuously, still playing at a high level, 30, 12, and 5. So they do deserve some respect. They was in the Eastern Conference Championship last season. And they're looking to make that next step. But with them being 41-7, the best team in the NBA, you really don't hear much about them, and there needs to be more said.
Okay, Baker Mayfield said he's going to stop responding to critics.
Good for him.
Finally.
Good for him, because all he did this season was make himself look like an idiot. Anybody that said anything to him, you had to fire back at him. And he playing like doo-doo. Can't do that. Can't do that. Sometimes you got to learn when to shut up. You got to learn when to shut up. You had the second worst completion percentage at like 59%. You had several weapons around you. You had Jarvis Landry. You had Odell Beckham. And Njoku got hurt, but you had Njoku. You had 2 running backs, Nick Chubb, which was a Pro Bowler, Kareem Hunt. It's no excuse. It's no excuse to be playing like that. And then anytime somebody criticizes you, you feel like you got to fire back. That's their job as reporters. This is job as the media. When you're not playing well, they got a right to say so. So I'm glad because Baker, he finally came out and was like, I was humbled this season. I had to put my foot in my mouth a lot of times. Yes, you did. So get back to being focused. Because Baker had a good first year, and then he followed it up with a dud. So, like I said, when you're not playing well, you're going to receive criticism. And that's just part of it, being a professional athlete. So you just got to make sure you put in the work so you don't hear that. So I am glad he came out. Him and Rex Ryan spoke. They had a little beef in the media. They spoke and they, squashed the air on that. So maybe just maybe Baker Mayfield is growing up a little bit. Sometimes it takes for you sucking it up a little bit to realize like, hey, okay, I got to reset, go back to the drawing board. I'm not as good as I think I am. And for me, it looked like you need to, I'm not saying quarterbacks need to be in tip-top, rip shape, but you need to get a little shape. They had a picture of it. He looked like a kid. All that matters. So, work on it. We continue to work on your craft, Baker, and, let the critics be the critics and just go out there and play ball.
Okay, so Troy Polamalu.
Yeah.
I said it right. And Edgerrin James had the class of 2020 Hall of Fame.
Man, Hall of Fame in the NFL, I hate to say it, it's getting watered down. It's getting not Troy Polamalu. He's a Hall of Famer. He's a Hall of Famer, no doubt about it. I just look at the standard of where of what the NFL Hall of Fame was and where it's going. Edgerrin James didn't strike as a Hall of Famer to me. And this is what Deion Sanders was saying about we letting anybody in here now. NFL Hall of Fame don't feel as sacred as it used to be. It's getting real NBA basketballish as far as Hall of Fame where they let anybody in. And I like Edgerrin as a player. I love Edgerrin as a player. Hall of Famer though, I don't know, because my thing is, and I hate the way he left here, but it's like you put Edgerrin James in, where Corey Dillon?
Yeah,
where Corey Dillon? He won a ring with the Patriots. His stats up there, his numbers about probably as equal as his. Where Corey?
That's true.
I just now I understand what Deion was saying, because at first I'm like, nah, it's pretty hard to get in the NFL, Deion. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But looking at the Edgerrin James, I mean, this was the enshrinees here. We had Troy Polamalu. We had Edgerrin James. They highlighted the class. Isaac Bruce. Okay, Isaac Bruce. I'll give Isaac Bruce that. It was about his time. He waited long enough. I'll give you Isaac Bruce. That's fair. Steve Atwater, questionable. Now you straddling the line a little bit. 50-50 right there. I'll say Steve Hutchinson, the guard from the Seahawks and the Vikings. That's questionable to me. I know he was a great offensive lineman for years. For years. He was. But I just look at the totality of everything and a lineman that I feel like should get Hall of Fame consideration who never does. And I'm sorry, I obviously, I know I'm a Bengal fan, so I'm gonna say it. I don't care. Where is Willie Anderson? Where the heck is Willie Anderson? He was one of the top offensive tackles for years in the prime tackle era where you had Jonathan Ogden, Orlando Pace, all these guys. Willie Anderson was right up there with them, all-pro player. He can't even sniff a vote. I mean, I don't know. I mean, but Ezra was questionable for me. Atwater was questionable for me. Hutchinson was questionable for me. Polamalu and Isaac Bruce. Isaac Bruce waited his turn. I think he deserved to get in there. Polamalu was obviously a first ballot. But I agree with Dion. We got to start tightening it up.
Okay, up next we have Lamar Jackson, unanimous pick for the MVP.
Great unanimous. Great season for Lamar Jackson. Unanimous MVP. Can't fault him there. He played great. And from the midpoint season on, once they were probably from like week 6 all the way up until the playoffs, he was dynamic. And he was outstanding.
Okay, Damian Lillard has scored 293 points in 6 games.
Outstanding. Dame Dollar's on fire.
Yes.
He is feeling it. He's almost averaging about 50 points in these last 6 games.
That's crazy.
Amazing what he's doing. And when Dame get on these tears, he's one of the best. He's one of the best in the league. And he's one of my favorite players to watch. He gets, when he gets going, when he start pulling up from half court and draining them like they normal layups. So, I hope we'll see how long this keeps going. And, we'll see. Like Damian Lillard, he got him rolling. I think he'll get him, possibly get him in the playoffs at that 8 seed there. It'll be between them, Grizzlies, and the Pelicans. But Dame Lillard, and he's working his way back in that MVP talk too. So huge there. All right, coming up next, we will have our special guest Mo Egger, and we will talk Reds right after the timeout. Hey, we are back from the timeout, and I am excited to have radio personality for ESPN Cincinnati 1530, Mo Egger. How are you, man?
I'm doing great. What's going on?
Nothing much, man. Nothing much. I am excited about these Reds. I'm only 30. I'm 31 years old, and I've never seen an off season quite like this one from the Cincinnati Reds, man.
Yeah, if you go back to the winter between 2011 and 2012, they were actually comparably busy. That was the year in 2012 where they won 97 games.
Yep.
And they made an off-season trade for Matt Latos, and they made a trade for Sean Marshall, and they acquired Ryan Ludwig, and they acquired Ryan Madsen. So they were pretty busy then. But no, this is something unforeseen. This is a franchise that historically has not been that active in free agency, not just the last few years, but really throughout the history of free agency. This has typically not been a team that spends a lot of money. It is telling that this offseason they signed players to the 2 most expensive free agent contracts in the history of the franchise, $64 million each for Mike Moustakas and for Nick Castellanos. And that is still relatively low. If you were to go up and down Major League Baseball and find each team's most expensive free agency contract, most are going to exceed the $64 million mark. But you're right. It's been a different type of offseason, and it certainly has ignited a lot of optimism and excitement for the season, which is great.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm definitely excited. This is probably the most excited I am about a Reds team, since that offseason where they made those moves for Matt Latos, Sean Marshall, Ryan Ludwig, and those guys. So I'm definitely excited. One I think under a signing that we made that was really under the radar was Wade Miley. Just really filling in the back end of that rotation. And and it's nothing against Tyler Miley, but when you 3-12, with a +5 ERA, and we can have someone in the back end of that rotation to shore that up. I think that's huge, and making a playoff push, especially when your gaps from after your first 3 starters, 4 and 5 can hold their own.
I go back to Marty Brennaman's second to last game that he called. The Reds were pounded that night by the Milwaukee Brewers. Tyler Mahle pitched that game, and obviously a lot of us were listening to Marty a lot more than usual because it was one of his final games. But Tyler Mahle, I believe, gave up 6 runs in the first inning. And Marty said something to the effect of, you can't go into next season expecting to win a division title with Tyler Mahle pretty much locked in for 30-plus starts. No. Nothing against his upside, but I think that's fair. If the idea this season is to win the division and get to the World Series, you had to find at least one more rotation upgrade. And so it was always sort of inevitable that they were going to try to find somebody else. Now, let's be honest, Wade Miley was probably not their first choice. They tried to get Zach Wheeler this offseason. But what you do have now is you have 4 former All-Stars in your rotation. You have a guy that certainly has been there before. And I think what they like is the pairing of Wade Miley with Derek Johnson, the pitching coach. Yeah. One of the big reasons why they were willing to give Sonny Gray a 3-year contract was to reunite him with the guy that he had worked with in college. And I've talked with Sonny Gray since the season he had last year, and he is effusive in his praise of what Derek Johnson can do as pitching coach. He was named Baseball America's Coach of the Year. So I think what they're trying to do is you're getting an established commodity, and you're going to pair him with somebody that has already done a really good job of sort of steering certain pitchers' careers back on track. And if Wade Miley ends up being your 4th starter or your 5th starter, that's really, really good, because I think there are teams that would acquire Wade Miley with the idea of him leading the rotation, but because you have the quantity that you have in your rotation, you certainly need him to be good, but he's not leading the rotation. You're not remaking things around Wade Miley. You're just adding him to what you already have. Yep,
exactly. And I think he fits well into the 4th or 5th spot there. And really helps that rotation even more because, the top 3 has the potential to be studs. And, if we can round out that rotation, that pitching can be really special. Of course, we can't go through an offseason without a little bit of turmoil or a little bit of, concern there. Obviously, it came out pretty much the same day or the day after we signed Nick Castellanos that, Suarez, had a swimming pool incident, shoulder surgery, and would be out from the beginning of the season. Do you know any more about that injury and how extensive it is, or or how serious that injury is at all, or they're kind of keeping it close to themselves there?
Well, they're not required to really, disclose any specific details as to, the exact extent of the injury or how much time he's going to miss. And they're not going to do that in January or February just because the season is still so far away. But it's serious enough that it requires surgery. I'm of the belief there's no such thing as minor surgery. And if you're a Reds fan, if you're a Cincinnati sports fan and you've dealt with the preseason injuries, I remember when A.J. Green got hurt in late July, it was, he might miss a couple of games. Or he didn't take a snap this year. So I'm always a little skeptical whenever an organization tries to, ease everybody's concerns about the extent of an injury. It certainly doesn't. What we're reading and hearing doesn't suggest it's anything, that's going to threaten his season. But it certainly looks like it might compromise his availability on opening day, which begs a series of questions that involve how do you replace him? You're talking about, first of all, replacing a 49 home run guy. A former All-Star, but, who's going to play third base? Do you stick Mike Moustakas over there? What does that mean for second base? Nick Senzel could play third. They've come out, Nick Krall, the GM, has said that he doesn't expect Nick Senzel to be playing third base. Nick Castellanos has played third base before, although not well. So what do you do? But, that's right now, that's going to be storyline number 1 in spring training. When does he get back on the field? Is he available on opening day? And if the answer is no, when will we see Eugenio Suarez in the lineup? Because he is of utmost importance to this this team.
Yes, like you said, 49 homers last year. That's just a huge part of your lineup, your 4-hole hitter. So you have to you want him back as soon as possible, but you want him healthy, especially anything with a shoulder where it can affect your bat. You want to make sure that he's healthy. And another signing that I love, and I know people on Twitter was kind of looking at ERA and things like that, but Pedro Strop. I thought that was a very good signing for the bullpen. An area that we needed to address there. And I thought outside of last year, he puts up good numbers. He has a good ground ball ratio there, and I think I didn't see there any downside to signing him.
No, look, the profile of the guy that you're going to sign a week or two before spring training is exactly the profile that Pedro Strop fits, which is, a guy that's maybe not coming off his best season, is not going to cost you all that much, but has ideally had some previous success. In 2018, Pedro Strop was really, really good. Last year, he was not. He had the highest ERA of his career. A lot of the advanced metrics would suggest that he wasn't very good last season, but on whatever date they signed him, January 29th or January 28th, whatever it was, at that stage, you're probably not getting a guy coming off a career year. These are sort of for lack of a better way of putting it, the table scraps that you get so late in the process. They needed bullpen options. Pedro Strop is a bullpen option. I kind of compare him to somebody like a David Hernandez or a Jared Hughes, who are pitchers that had some success with the Reds. Now, David Hernandez imploded late last season, and Jared Hughes ultimately got traded. But those are sort of cheapish, somewhat under-the-radar guys that, let's face it, this bullpen, number one, David Bell uses it a lot. Number two, they've already got some pretty good options back there with Amir Garrett, hopefully Raisel Iglesias, hopefully Michael Lorenzen has a good season. But they certainly needed to add to it. You paired Pedro Strop with Derek Johnson, and maybe you can recapture some of that 2018 magic. He has had more good years than bad. Yeah. And so I think what you're simply hoping for is that last year was a little bit of an outlier, and if it was, you get a pretty good reliever for less than $2 million, which is pretty good.
Yep. Absolutely. And one thing about, bullpen arms there is I'm not a believer in spending like a whole bunch of money in bullpen arms just because they're, so up and down. Like 1 year they can have a good year, 1 year they can have a down year. So I think, like I said, I think it was a great, signing for the Reds, and then, one with, low risk, and possibly, high reward there. So I'll take that. Now, before I let you go here, Mo, one other question now regarding the closer spot. Now, do you think they're going to, continue with Iglesias? He struggled last year. Or do you possibly see Michael Lorenzen stepping up into that closer role?
Well, what I would like to see them do, and what they tried last year, is to not designate somebody to pitch the ninth inning, but instead use the best available arm on a given day to get the game's most important outs. Sometimes the most important outs aren't in the ninth inning. They could come in the seventh inning. It's a 3-2 game. There's bases loaded. There's one guy out. Use your best guy. Those outs are huge. They tried that last year with Raisel Iglesias, and for whatever reason, he just never really seemed comfortable in any role beyond a safe situation in the ninth inning. And so I think you have a little bit of a dilemma here in that David Bell would like to be a little bit more progressive and modern with the usage of Raisel Iglesias, meaning he would like to use him in the eighth inning. He would like to use him in the seventh inning. He would like to use him to get more than 3 outs. And yet, in any other role beyond pitching the ninth inning to get those last 3 outs, he really struggled last year. So I think that's really going to be worth following. Raisel Iglesias still has a great arm. And, he really obviously struggled last year. Here's the good news for me, though. If Raisel Iglesias fails, you have Amir Garrett. Amir Garrett should have been an all-star last year.
Yeah, if he didn't get injured.
Amir Garrett would be the best relief pitcher on a lot of teams, and you could argue he was the best relief pitcher on the Reds last season. I think you have to tell Raisel Iglesias, look, man, we can't just use you in the ninth inning. We can't limit you, and we can't limit ourselves to just using you in the ninth inning, because then we're playing the rest of the game shorthanded, and it's up to you to figure out how to pitch in non-save situations. That's easy for me me to say.
Yeah.
That's difficult for David Bell to do when he is struggling in those non-save situations.
Yes, absolutely, and I definitely agree with you there. And Mo, I definitely appreciate you talking Reds with me. I really do. And I'm a big fan of yours. And hey, our Bearcats starting to roll too, man. A big win last night against the Houston Cougars.
I was really excited last night. They were down by 15 points. I kind of had them dead in the water.
Hey, me too. I was like, man, just sign me up for the NIT and I'm cool. Yeah,
I was screaming, make a damn free throw. And fortunately, at the end of the game, they did. They showed some toughness last night, and now you're kind of thinking that maybe they can go on a little bit of a run and have their name called on Selection Sunday.
Yep, I think so. I think they're in a good position. They control their own destiny there, and I'm excited. Like I said, I'm excited about the Reds. I'm excited about UC basketball for the rest of the season. All right, Mo, I appreciate you, and thank you very much for taking time out with me.
No problem at all. Thank you.
No problem. All right. That's it. We have another episode of Time Out with Coach Cam. It's been real. We out.
Time out, overtime, hot take, debate, penalty by so many options. We on the way, unapologetic opinions, guests checking in, so I share on my social. Merch going up, my brother he going global. Ass hold it down for the ladies, they need their own show. But we right back with it. Time out with Coach Cam, we shouldn't miss a minute. Yup. But we right back with it. Time out with Coach Cam, we shouldn't miss a minute. Yup.